All right, so let's move on very quickly to why do you need a retreat often? Why should a leader retreat often? Really, really very important. I have some ideas there. You see, you need to find time to decelerate. I put it in some 5 Ds. Okay? So the first D is to decelerate. So sometimes even in our businesses, we are moving so fast. Things are happening so fast. Operations, every day you go, you're putting up fires. Every day, okay, this new customer didn't like whatever. Okay, go to this customer, solve this problem, buy this, purchase it. So we're so busy. And if you're too busy to actually decelerate and debrief, always debriefing, looking for, when I turned 50, that was so many years ago. So I sat down to debrief. I decelerated to debrief. I said, okay, what was it that I did in the first half of my life that helped me a lot, that I can project into the next? That was debriefing.
You don't look 50 on that.
Look at this man. That's why some young babes see me and they think that I'm still available. And so, and I asked myself, what were the things that were part of the first 50 years of my life that didn't serve me, that I don't want to export into the new one? And I tell you, it was a life-changing thing for me. Debriefing, decelerating, and debriefing. So for instance, I found out that the way my relationship with money in the first half of my life was very, very poor. And so in this next half of my life, I want to be more deliberate, about money. I want to be financially intelligent because it didn't serve me. Because of it, by the time I was leaving Shell, after working and then seeing all those millions, pass through my hands in Shell, in Chevron, and things like that, I left that place, literally without anything. I actually left with the debt of about 46 million, some of which I'm still paying. And then I was in the first year I was employed in Chevron. After 6 months, they gave me car grant, and I went to the cooperative, borrowed more money, put in it, and bought SUV. That my villagers were calling Okote Kenese. That is something that, because you're sitting there, when you are greeting the king, you're actually standing up and greeting the king. That sort of thing. I wasn't wise. But, I had another colleague who was giving that same money at that year in Chevron. You know what he did? He put it in stock market. Those were days of stock, he put it in stock market. 5 years after, Chevron would normally give, after 5 years, you get something that allows you to get a house or something. This guy was able to offload his stocks and bought a house, somewhere in, if you get to Mobile, there's an estate, somewhere. I still know that guy. But by that time, my SUV, 4Runner, no longer, and those days I will take it to the beach, because of the 4-wheel drive, just, pose around the beach, used to carry them, and then, but in 5 years' time, that auxiliary had even spoiled. It couldn't go. I tried it one day in the beach, and the thing held me there. So I had a car after 5 years, but this guy had a house. So if I didn't sit down to debrief, I wouldn't know, and I would be making the same mistake. That's why it's important to always debrief. So I have a better relationship with money now. There were many other things I said in the first part of my year that I want to continue that served me. For instance, reading at least 2 hours a day. It served me because much of what I am, I attribute to reading that I did. So I made a list of all those things. Now, the second one is to denoise and refocus your energy. There's so much noise in the world, noise of social media, the noise outside, the noise also in your head. But particularly the noise in your head is the worst noise. The noise in your head is the worst. So you really need to bring yourself to a place that you denoise your brain, your mind. You're sitting alone and you're actually refocusing your energy. You're asking yourself, what is it I should be focusing on? A lot of people are focusing on, they put hands in so many things. But you see, over these years, I found that you can actually do just one thing and do it really, really well. If you can actually find one thing that you're really good at and do it really, really well, get some, knowledge about a lot of other things, but be known for one particular thing. Refocusing your energy is much better. Much better. Now, what I'm doing, I have done for 10 years. I've done for 10 years since I left Shell. But in between, there were too many other things that came in that I could have done. But I just found that, okay, so what I'm actually doing, see, my core competence, like my core strength, is actually taking complicated things, simplifying it, and creating tools, processes, and framework that can help people to grow. I'm very gifted in that when it comes to creating content, when it comes to simplify. So that's my core strength. Take complicated things people are struggling with, break it down to ABC, and then create tools. So I create tools and watches, like the watches you're going to see today. I created them, to help people. So I'm very good at such things. And and you find that when you focus your energy, you get better, you're healthier, you're happier, you are more effective. You actually make more money when you focus on one thing than when you do many things. When I started, I remember starting and I was running some 5,000 naira miserable seminars that I would beg people. I'll talk about it on TV, send SMSs. At the end of it, maximum 5 or 6 people will come for 5,000 naira. And when those people come for 5,000 naira, they want to eat full meal, full lunch. They want to drink everything and all those things. And the materials, so I was just laboring. And meanwhile, I've spent so much, preparing for it. Until one day I just decided, no. It's so difficult to do business for poor people. Give charity to poor people, but do business for people who can afford it. You see, the mistake many businesses are making is that they're very emotional about it. Business is not religion. It's not like ministry. So do business for people who can afford it, customers who can afford it, but do charity for poor people who can't afford it. Give them food, give them clothes to wear, find them somewhere to. But if you try to do business, I tried it for many years. The thing almost killed me. So one day, I advertised a seminar at University of Lagos for 6,000 naira. Because I wanted the thing to be available to everybody. I wanted all these people, all these Africans. It's not today I started thinking about Africa's problem and how to solve it. So I just thought, okay, 6,000 naira. But the day we got there, it was only one person who had paid. So I called her named Pamela Oiko. I called and said, Pamela, please don't come, I'll refund your money and all that. And then we ended it that way. After that, I just did like this for poor people. And then the next one, I took it to 65,000 naira. Without too much talking, 9 people came. And we took it to Protea Hotel in Ikoyi. I don't know whether they've changed that hotel now, but it's at Walawa Road. 9 people turned up without whatever. And so I devoted myself, to serving leaders, serving people at that level and all that. And then because I've done it, consistently, for these 10 years, a lot of opportunities are springing up nationally, internationally, and then I have business schools calling me, wanting to do something like recently, one multinational wants to develop their leaders for the next 15 years, their top leaders for the next 15 years. And they called me. So now I have a coaching contract for 1 year for multinationals, a multinational company, and I'm sitting there, with their general managers, with their whatever. So, refocusing your energy, taking stock. Detox your mind and emotions. You need to retreat to detox. You don't just detox your body. It's actually more important to detox your mind. Things you've heard that poisoned your brain, poisoned your life that you don't even know are there. And then people spend too much time watching TV, reading fake news, reading, forwarding, I call them freighters and forwarders on WhatsApp. Once they read about some kind of tragedy or some kind of whatever, they just forward immediately. They don't even read. There are people who just forward. They copy themselves from copy it, and they just forward. So all these things we read and all that, because you see what goes on here is so important. And then my people will tell you, we don't even have a TV in our house. By choice. We've never. In fact, there's only one TV that we've ever bought, and that was 1999. And it's a tube. The one that 1999, when he was born. That's the only TV we've ever. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong, but and I don't even know what that TV is now. But a few years ago, we brought it out. The reason we brought it out was I was on television, so that at least they'll be watching their daddy. That was why we brought it. After I quit STV 2014, I don't know what that TV is now. It went out. It went out. In the hotel, I can stay in a hotel. I used, like last year, I spent a total of more than 200 nights in hotel, away from home, in hotels. And I could be in a hotel for 3 weeks and not remember there's a television, they not touch it. But it's because there's so much to read. There's just so much to read, to absorb here, And so you do not detox your mind, because the things we've put in there, the things we've read, the horrible things that we've put in there, we need to detox. Put in fresh content, put in inspiring content, flush out all those things, because your mind will only be as effective, as clean as it is. If it has toxins in it, your decisions will have toxins, your relationships will have toxins in them, your business will have toxins in them. Decompress and recalibrate. That's the 4th D, okay? There's so much stress in Lagos. You see, you just get into the traffic. And then, within 5 minutes you're driving, you're really tasking the Holy Spirit, inside you to keep you from exploding because of things people do. I was driving a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, so I was driving past the toll gate there. As soon as I passed that toll gate, so one crazy guy, I didn't know, he just came. He was speeding from behind and then swerved in front of me. I don't know what was pursuing him. And almost rammed me to the curb. So before I could remember that I was born again, I pressed down my window and brought out all my 5 fingers and did like that, for him. And, that it just came. That's what I think Daniel Goleman calls emotional hijack. And before I realized, okay, no, now get yourself together. So there's a lot of pressure. People are under pressure. And then many times you see people reacting to you in certain ways, not because it's you, but because of what's going on inside them. But for us as leaders, we need to retreat, to decompress, so that we don't react that way, emotionally. And then we need to define and decide. Define the next direction. Define where we're going next. Define, okay, what's the next steps? So these are really, so I call these the 5 Ds of leaders retreat. Not just the one that we're having collectively, but the one you really do for yourself every time. Okay? And then for some of us, you might find it really very powerful sometimes to do that with some bit of prayer and fasting, like once a week or something like that, or whatever works for you. Where your alone time, your me time, when you're really there. Because that's when I really get a lot more of the things that I share with people and things that I do.